More than 4,000 Malaysians are living in Shanghai. They work in this metropolis, taking home a piece of the cultural and dynamic experience. Let's look at how two such Malaysians get along here. Catherine Lee keeps her toes tapping and enjoys most of her life in Shanghai as a Tai-Tai. However, it's not all bed of roses for her.
A lot of people are saying, oh, you're going to Shanghai to be a Tai-Tai, being an expat wife. But there's a lot of sacrifice for expat wives like us.
As for Daniel Dillon, who works as an architect, his waist measurement has gone from 42 to 30 inches after coming to Shanghai.
42 to 45. I keep switching at the 42, 45 inches around the waist.
3 years ago, Catherine gave up her career as the brand development manager of a company in Malaysia to follow her husband to Shanghai.
My role then was as brand development manager for Asia, and I enjoyed working a lot until my husband one day pops out a question and say, hey, we're going to Shanghai, and I was reluctant to go. But we gave it a lot of thought, and then we had a lot of discussion, and then we decided that, well, my career has to come to a halt. So we decided that we moved to Shanghai. First thing that struck me was probably more about my career, what I had to give up. What was it going to be like coming to Shanghai? I don't speak a lot of Mandarin actually, so learning Mandarin was like going to be a big hurdle for me. And then I'm so happy now because now at least I can hold a conversation in Mandarin as opposed to last time I just knew little words here and there and speaking Mandarin.
She and her friends enjoy hunting for good bargains during their leisure time.
We're not too crazy about going to shopping malls where they sell branded goods because you get that everywhere and you get that back in Malaysia. And I think it's more expensive for those branded goods selling in Shanghai. There's a lot of bargain going on. You know, if you enjoy bargaining, some of my friends do. So we will bargain till we're satisfied with the price and we walk away with the goods that we like. We like to go to different places for food too. In fact, we will check out different places for Thai food, Vietnamese food, Malaysian food, and then we would end up doing coffee. My favorite place is Coffee Bean. I met a lot of friends, and some of them stay around here. And so it was easy to catch up with them, and then we would, we have cars driven by chauffeurs, so we would take turn to use each other's cars, and we would go out in a group.
Daniel looks dashing at work, but few would believe that he was once fat.
I used to be 128 kg. I was a very fat person, and I was wearing a size 42 to 45. I kept switching at the 42, 45 inches around the waist. Then when I came to China, because of the different lifestyle and the restriction in food selection, I was forced into a new diet program and accidentally started a slimming program. And after a while, some of my office colleagues invited me to join them over in the gym, which I went to try out, and I like it, and I've been exercising ever since. If in one day I don't exercise, I feel like something is wrong, that my body will not function well the next day. So I would go on the Strider, which is a machine I think built so well that it avoided you from having muscular injury. So you can actually use it continuously for about an hour, which I did, and I burned about maybe 600 to 700 calories depending on the speed. When I first arrived in China, I thought, it wasn't an interesting place. I was quite lost. In fact, it was more like a nightmare. I had difficulties. First, in the way that people live. It was that how do you say, cultural shock thing, because I thought before I came to China that China is just going to be another Malaysia-like environment, because we're so used to the Chinese culture in Malaysia.
Initially, Daniel could not speak a word of Chinese. But now, he has settled down and could even communicate with the people in the street.
Personally, the thing that really helped me to immerse myself in the culture of the people here was my habit of walking through the streets of Shanghai. I like walking a lot. So I walk around the streets, and then I like to stop by parks, gardens, because that's also helpful for my work. Then I would observe how the people begin their day, what they do in the garden, what are the common activities, and then through there you could perceive, what kind of people they are. Generally in the morning you could see people, young and old, doing all kinds of activities. For example, the elderly people, they would have at least, you can see them having at least 3 activities, from either Tai Chi or to fan dance, fan dancing, or sword playing. And then you can see the younger one, maybe around mid-age, 30 years old to about 40 plus. What they would do is, just playing one court side of a badminton, or a simple jog around the park. While the younger ones, you can see, just strolling and walking.
Catherine also puts on her dancing shoes and practice some moves with her friends.
Going for line dance practice or line dance lessons, whatever you may want to call it, that kept us busy because we took it very seriously. We had about 4 or 5 months notice, and then we said, okay, we're going to do a performance at Medical Night in Shangri-La, in Shanghai. So it was almost a daily affair, making sure we perfected our steps. So that was how I spent the whole of my second year. Being in Shanghai, it's not all bathed of roses. A lot of people are saying, oh, you're going to Shanghai to be a Thai, being an expat wife, life is going to be full of fun and lots of things. Well, you can say, you can look at it one way. It's nice, you have a lot of leisure time. But there's a lot of sacrifice for expat wives like us, because our husbands are very busy. The reason why they're posted here is they're going to have, the company that posted you here have a lot of expectations. So our husbands, well, my husband is very busy. He's traveling most of the time, and we hardly get to spend time together. So most of the time, we make sure we have weekends together. Even if my husband was traveling, he tries as much as possible to come back to base, which is Shanghai, to have time with us, and then he moves on again.
As for Daniel, he shares an apartment with his Malaysian colleague.
We actually, the strange thing is, we spend most of our days together, but during weekends we normally do separate kinds of different types of activities. Jimmy is quite a pious person. He goes to church. So he goes. Saturday he would I do not know where he goes actually. He just disappears. The next thing you know, he comes back with a plastic of bread. But that's on a Saturday. That is Jimmy's activity on Saturday. On Sunday, he would go off to church in the morning, comes back late. In the evening, Jimmy and I would watch movie maybe up to late as in 2 to 3 o'clock. I normally would force him to stay up with me. What I'll do is normally at 9 o'clock Saturday evening, I would give him a call, 9 o'clock, and usually I would tell him, you're not allowed to sleep tonight because I'm picking up some horror movies and you're going to have to watch it with me.
He spends his pastime with his childhood pal at a store selling soybean desserts.
As soon as the Friday evening, the evening of the Friday, I would go seek a friend in the Jing'an area. He's my childhood friend, my classmate back when we were in high school. We don't do anything in particular. We just visit this quite, how do you say, quaint little tofu farm cafe next to Plaza 66. It's actually clinched between Plaza 66 and Portman Hotel, and we would order the tofu tofu pho. The tofu pho is very different. It's not like the normal tofu pho you have here in China.
What doesn't the two like about Shanghai?
My son says I dare not go to wet market, and that's true.
Why?
Shanghai is very, to me, it's really a character on it by itself. There is a very metropolitan part of Shanghai, very modern. And there is a very not so modern part of Shanghai where a lot of people are pretty crude. And those are the places I would avoid going to. They would bump right into you without making way for you, and I get very uncomfortable. So it depends on what I want to buy. If I were to buy groceries, I would go to the supermarkets, like places like Carrefour or Metro.
The people here don't really practice the culture of the Chinese people as we were normally exposed to back in Malaysia. They almost cut it more than half. So there were a lot of things that are different, and I feel like I'm almost in a different place. Because of the language barrier, I did not get to mix around with a lot of people. I did not get to expose myself to the information, and therefore I feel quite lost.
Daniel is learning Mandarin to cope with the daily life here.
I decided to invest on taking up a Chinese lesson, and so far it has been quite fruitful. I mean, I'm not really suddenly switched into a fluent speaker, but at least most of the things which I've heard before, or things which I can only figure out in the past, makes more sense. And I would be able to tell the fishmonger how I would want my fish to be cut, or keep it the way it is, that kind of thing. So it helps. Sometimes I go on a unwanted tour of Shanghai city if I bought a cab and the cab driver thought that I am this foreigner that he can swindle. In the past I would just like, oh my goodness, how am I going to scold this guy, because I know for a fact he's cheating me. But now today, never ever try to swindle me, because I will just tell him off like what I did the other day with Jimmy. We were from Nanjing Donglu going back to this area, which usually only would cost me the most, what, 40 bucks if we follow the longer route. But that night, this cab driver thought that, because the two of us were speaking in a foreign language, so he took us on a, detour, turning all the way up to the Shijiahui and Xuhui district. And even before we reached our place, anywhere near it, it was already 80 plus RMB.
So we came in here actually, before we really shifted here, we actually came in here for what we call a familiarization trip. So I brought my son to see different schools. We decided to choose the British International School because it has a British education system that's somewhat quite similar to what we are familiar with in Malaysia. So it was easier. The only difference is they have a different, academic year, that they start in September, while Malaysia schools start in January. Now that I have a lot of time on my hands and moving into the phase of being a homemaker, I have more time following my son's progress in school. And I'm pretty happy that he's adapted pretty well in school. Some of the things that he had done in school actually made me a very proud mom. And I must say, he does make Malaysians proud too.
Be it the rude people on the streets or the cheating taxi drivers, both Catherine and Daniel have come a long way to cope with the contrasting cultures in this city. From Shanghai, Chow How Ban, The Star, Malaysia.